Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Blessings to all of you. In the time we live, it can happen easily that you find yourself in a very fearful state, in a very anxious state, or even panicking sometimes. And I was listening once to one of the great teachers that I really loved him also. His name was Sheikh Burhanuddin, rahmatullahi alayhi. And he was coming to America with his dervishes, and he was in this famous radio where they would interview people like him. So among the questions they asked him was the thing how they should deal with fears, no? And how should they deal with fears, and especially also about the time, because almost in the last 100 years, you can say there was not a period where you could not develop a fear about the situation in the world, isn't it? So they were saying this is, I think the interview was done in the 90s, and I don't know exactly what was happening there, but there was also some conflicts and some dispute, the Bosnian War, I can't remember clearly. However, they asked him what you do when you are in fears about the world, especially, no? And he said, in the Sufi tradition, we have one rule, and this is that we are looking in the morning if the sun rises up in the east. And as long as it does that, we are calm. Because any other thing, we don't have to worry. The sun rises up, that means we are taking care. And that was his answer. And there's all the time happening things. And now we are getting flooded by information. Now, for example, there is this thing that we say, if we cannot stop the warming up over 1.5 degree, then our life will be finished on Earth. It's not the case. You see, this is not a number, and after that number, everything is finished. Everything has consequences, yes. And we see them now. We see that they are happening. We see drastic changes in the weather, no, and so on. And yes, we have to deal with it, right? We have to deal with it. Well, up to now, humanity survived every point, right? And what I understood about the prophecies is that there is not an end in the next thousands of years. You know, there is not really an end. There is not something that says, here it ends, yeah. Even the people, they were believing that 2012, the world ends because the Maya calendar, whatever they thought is the Maya calendar, it stopped. Now it didn't stop, as we know, and I don't think that it will ever stop in a human scale. Yeah, of course, in an absolute scale, everything is going to stop finally, or to change, or to disappear. You know, even planets disappear, right? But what we understand about our planet from a scientific point of view, it will have some billion years left, because we depend on the sun, and they say the sun has some billion years left. We don't know, right, exactly. But it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen next year. It's not happen in the next 100 years. For us, it is important to understand that we need to take care. That's all. Yeah. And those of you that ask themselves, how can I take care? Yeah, what should I do? Yeah, that you say, it is all in the hands of the big industries, it's all in the hands of the politicians, it's all in the hands of others. Yes and no. Yeah. First of all, it is in our hand that we give the power to them. And the first power we give them is our thoughts, is our emotions. And this is a thing you should stop, you know. If you don't like something, if you don't like the way they treat problems, they treat people, then you have two options. You can act. You can act. And if you cannot act, you can speak. But speaking is also a difficult thing, you know. So then there is another thing, and that is that you talk from inside of yourself. And now look, what would be the best thing to do? You can think like with your thoughts against something, and this is usually what we usually do. But then ask yourself, what would the situation need now? What does the situation need? And the situation needs care. Yeah, we need to take care. For example, every one of us can take care of water, right? Everyone can take care not to buy the 150s t-shirt, yeah, or the 100 pairs of shoes, or whatever we buy in multiple numbers without reading the need of it, right? So this is a thing we can take care. Then food. We can take care of food. Do we want to have the junk food? Do we want to eat this food? Or do we look for a food and support food companies that they give us healthy food? Yeah. All these kinds of things we can do. But the most powerful thing to do is to send from your heart what is needed. And what is needed is clarity, is confidence, is love, is support, strength, no? And you have to find out that your heart always owns that at any moment. Our mind is the taker. Our mind robs us from our own feelings, from our own powers, from our own capacities. It's always the doubter. It says, it looks at you, you look at yourself by your mind and you say, oh my God, you are not really good, right? You have this and that and this and that, and you somehow cut yourself in pieces because the mind is like this. It is a researcher. It is an analyst. Yeah, it dissects, no? And on the other hand, it's a creator. Yeah, it's a creator. It creates all the time. It creates and creates and creates. But it is not one thing it doesn't know, and that is to maintain. It's not a maintainer. Yeah, it is a creator and a destroyer. And this is what you see, what happens in our world, right? You build up and we destroy. We build up and we destroy. This is what the mind does. It's made for that. Yeah. And the heart is made for maintenance. So it doesn't do anything against somebody. Yeah. And you may think, but in the heart, with my heart, I'm separate from my heart. No, you're not separate from your heart, never. Yeah. The problem why we feel to be separate from the heart is because we project our mind on our heart. Yeah. And this is something you should stop to do that, you know. So when you look for your emotions, yeah, this you look into your mind, you look that through your mind. This is very important to understand that, you know. You look and you say, how am I? And you start to think how you are, right? It's not really that you feel, you think about the emotions you have, you know. I'm sad. Oh, okay, why am I sad? How? And you want to come out of the sadness. And these are all thought processes. Now, the heart is never really sad, you know. It doesn't have that, yeah, because it's a giver, yeah. It's an owner. It owns your higher self. It is the place of the throne of God. We say the heart is the throne of God. Now, so then, what should take place on the throne of God? If you throw your worries on the throne of God, then it is for no help, because there's not a place for it. Yeah. So there's only one thing you can do, and this is to take place. You take place, yourself takes place on that throne. Yeah. And that means you're the owner of your life. You're the owner of your kingdom. No? So the king can feel all kinds of emotions, but he goes not with the emotions. When he looks to his kingdom, he goes with feelings. So he's asking, what does my kingdom need? Not what I need. What does my kingdom need? That is what the heart thinks. That's what the heart speaks. What does the other need? So what does the situation need? Yeah, my panic, my fear, my envy, my jealousy, my greed. No, it needs your confidence. It needs your strength. It needs your consciousness, your trust. Yeah, that you can do things. And you can, because you have this option. You have to understand, you have this option always. You always have the option. You can be strong, you can be confident or not. But when you identify with the thoughts, you empower, you dispower yourself. Yeah, not empower, you dispower yourself, right? And when you go to the place of the heart, then you empower yourself. Yeah. So heart means this place where you are at every time strong, for example, or in peace, or clear, right? This is the place of it. And that's why in our tradition we focus on the heart. Yeah. But it must be clear that you don't put your projections from your mind to your heart. Yeah. So the easiest to begin with is you touch yourself when you are in fear, for example, and you focus on the heat. It's the flame that is always burning behind uh, your chest, this bone, right, that is here. There is a kind of flame behind, no? Fire. And that is connected to your heart, you know. So you do that and you focus there and you feel the heat and the strength. That's your power. It's your life energy. Yeah. And with that strength, you can do anything. You just send it to your life situation or to a situation that you would like to improve, you know. But you don't think it. You don't say, oh, this should be like this and this, or like this and this. No, no. Don't think it. Just send the energy, the feeling of love, of support, of comfort, because all this is always there. Even you feel miserable in your mind, yeah, your mind tells you, oh, you are really not in a good situation. You have no money, you have no one with you, you are alone, you have no good job. Mama is also not happy with you, Papa is not happy with you. Let's say you think that. It doesn't matter, because there is the other one, and that's your heart. And that sits on the throne. Yeah. It's the king on the throne. And maybe he had a trouble with his wife before. The queen wasn't happy. He says, oh, you never come to me, whatever. Yeah, can happen. And the moment he sits on the throne, he's the king. And he forgets himself. He can detach from this thousands of problems that he might have. And he goes with this king power because he knows he's the king. So then he acts like a king. And when you do that, you will experience miracles. Yeah. Because you do something different, first of all. You change the habit of thinking. And this is what you need to understand from the answer of Sheikh Mustafa Osak. That he said, look to the sun. Is it raising up? The sun is the heart. Sun is the consciousness, is the king. Yeah, it's our king. So the king, as long as the king looks after us, no, as long as he is looking, yeah, you shouldn't go in the ultimate fears. Yeah. Because fear is also a prayer, you know. So we don't want to pray these negative prayers, and we want to do the opposite. Yeah, now it's a time to maintain, and we try to deal with it. And it's coming. It's coming. Yeah. More and more people want to activate their heart, and this is the way it will happen. Yeah. So try that out and see how it works in your life. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.